Welcome to another episode of the Chief Audit Executive Briefing. Welcome back, my friends. It's good to be with you again this week. Now, to start off today, I want to ask you a few questions. Okay, so here's the first one. I want to ask you some questions, and then we'll go through and talk about them. So the first one, are you happy with how internal audit is perceived in your organization? Are you happy with how internal audit is perceived in your organization? Next question. Do you like fighting for budget and resources and have to kind of prove your value each year? So, do you like fighting for budget and resources and having to prove yourself or prove your value each year? Next question. Do you like not being recognized as equal to the other functions in the organization? So, do you like not being recognized as equals to the other functions in your organization? And finally, do you want to keep doing things all alone by yourself? So, do you want to just keep doing things all alone by yourself? So, why I'm asking you these questions? Well, if you're like most chief audit executives, you probably answered no to at least one, if not all of those questions. So what do we do about it? Well, what I really want to try to explain to you and share is some of my experience and how, if you answered no to those questions, what you can do to change the situation at your organization. So when I was a chief audit executive, I knew I needed some help. Okay. We all need a little help from our friends. That's just part of life. I know sometimes we pretend like we don't need help, but really deep down, we all could use some help. So I realized that. And as I said, when I was a chief audit executive, I went out looking for help. And there's some different groups that are out there that say they're for chief audit executives. I signed up, I paid for all of them. I've participated in any of the ones that were available. And here's what I found. I was really disappointed. In fact, most of them I didn't really find any value in. So why am I telling you this? Because when I was a chief audit executive, I knew what I wanted. I wanted some support. I wanted some help. And the things that were out there did not provide that to me. And so what I've done is actually created a space just like I wanted when I was a chief audit executive. Now, I'm going to be honest with you and up front, it's a little different than what you're used to. A lot of the executive programs, you pay a few $1,000s a year, they send you an email. That's not what this is about, okay? Other ones, you pay them tens of thousands of dollars a year, and they send you some survey results. That's not what this is either, okay? This is also not prepaying, for conferences and other things like that a lot of the programs are intended for. This is actually something to really help you become a trusted advisor and become the kind of executive that you need to be in order to be seen on that same level with the other executives in your organization. Because as I've told you before, most of the other C-level executives in your organization are getting some help. It's behind the scenes, people don't see it, but they're getting help and you're probably not. And that's exactly what the Chief Audit Executive Forum is here to do. It's to bring together like-minded chief audit executives where we can talk about, share best practices with each other, ask questions, get thought leadership. If you're struggling with something, somebody else has probably gone through that already. And so it provides you with a community of like-minded chief audit executives and provides you with more of that kind of coaching and support to help you really step into and become that executive that you were always intended to be. If you want to elevate the status of internal audit, you're going to have to do some things different. And so again, when I ask you those questions at the beginning, if you're answering no, that means you're going to have to do something different. Now, I realize that, again, in our profession, doing something different and change seems very risky. And a lot of times we end up kind of locking up and we don't want to make a decision. But here's what I'll tell you. Every time that I've been too scared to actually take action, I've regretted it later. And every time that I've been willing to have the courage to do something that's a little bit different that I was a little unsure of, it's paid off huge. Okay. That's again my own experience coming to you as a chief audit executive as well. I know sometimes how hard it can be to try to look at or do things maybe a little bit different. And as I told you, I'm going to be upfront with you. The Chief Audit Executive Forum is different than those other programs. And just to prove to you, here's a case in point. You must apply. You have to fill out an application to even be considered for joining. This isn't pull out your checkbook and anybody who pays gets to be in this group. That's not how that works. I've been a part of many of those groups, and usually it does not work because the dynamics are not correct, and people that shouldn't be in the group are let in, and it makes a bad environment for everyone else. So you have to fill out an application. You also have to pay an application fee. Oh my gosh, why would I have to do that? Because we need to guarantee that the people who are applying are really serious. I get lots of people every week trying to kick me, kick the tires and get free advice from me. That's not what this is. Okay. And so again, just like if you were going to apply to go to Harvard University, you would pay an application fee. Harvard may not even accept you, but if you want to go to Harvard, you have to pay an application fee. It's the same thing here. Now, again, it's not, it's to make sure that the people who are applying really want to be in the program and they really are serious about investing the time and money necessary to take their career to the next level. Another thing that's different, you have to go through an interview. So you have to not only fill out an application, pay an application fee, but you have to go through an interview. We have to sit down and talk for an hour and go over your application, see who you are, see if you would be a good fit for the group. Because here's the thing, I don't want anybody in this group who's not a good fit. And if you don't think you're a good fit for the group, I don't want you in the group either. Because again, this is a like-minded Chief Audit Executive group. It's a community of like-minded people, and I have to make sure that we have the integrity of the group to be able to do the things and really move our profession and move your career forward. So as I told you to begin with, it's a little bit different, but I know that this is exactly what most of you need. And I'm looking for the people who actually have the courage to stand up and take some action and do what they need to do to be able to move their career to the next level. A lot of times in our profession, we hear people complaining and moaning, oh, woe is me, blah, 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 blah. Okay? Those people are going to continue to complain. Those people are going to continue to be seen as something far less than the rest of the executives in the group. And they're always going to be ignored, frustrated, or tolerated. What I'm looking for, the people who actually want to make change, are willing to do things different and really elevate themselves and elevate their team and elevate internal audit in your organization. But it means you're going to actually have to do some work as well. And part of that is going through this process. Now, again, if this is something that you want, if you feel like you're a good fit, if I feel like you're a good fit, I want you in the group, okay? I'm doing this because we need it. And I know I've kind of babbled here for a little while. If you're still on with me, thank you. But let me just kind of wrap up here because I know this one is a little bit longer. But the reason that I'm making it a little bit longer and I'm speaking to you more from the heart is we don't accept applications all the time. In fact, we only open up applications a couple times a year, and this week is the last time for this go around. So if this is something that you're interested in, get your application in this week. It only takes 5 or 10 minutes to fill out the application and then schedule an hour call with me. But get it in this week so we can get your interview done and see if you're going to be a good fit. Because as I go through this and I'm talking here, I hope you can feel that I really am coming from the heart, because I know this is something that our profession desperately needs. Most of the things that are out there and most of the advice that people are giving is not actually helping. In fact, it's often hurting our profession, and that makes me mad, honestly. I want to help people. I want to help you if you think that this is a good fit. Now, for those of you that might be thinking, oh, I don't know, go check out the page, read through it. But I also want you to think about this. At the beginning of the video, I asked you some questions, and I'm guessing that most of you answered no to at least one of those questions. So if you're one of those people, just hang with me, okay? Because what I want you to do is think about, if you join the CAE Forum, imagine if 3 weeks after joining, you started to have more clarity. You started to realize what you need to do different, what your team needs to do different, and you can put together a plan to start making a change. What if 3 months from joining the forum, all of a sudden executives were looking at you differently? If they were actually inviting you to meetings, if they were asking for your help, how would that feel? What if 3 years from now, you were actually seen as a trusted advisor? You weren't seen as some, little executive who doesn't really belong, but you were actually invited into the fold, and you were seen as someone who is trusted and respected. And internal audit has been elevated in your organization to where it really is an important part of the organization, and you're truly adding value to your organization. Imagine how good you would feel at that point. Well, if you want to get to that point, you're going to have to make some changes. And one of those is have the courage to put in your application, and let's see if we can get you into the forum and help you get to exactly where you want to be. Because that's my goal. Okay? I'm here for you. I've been a little rambling this time, so I'm gonna cut it off. But again, if you're serious about elevating internal audit in your organization and taking your career to the next level, check out the page. The link is below, and fill out your application this week. And I look forward to having an interview with you. Have a great week.